If you've been struggling to lose weight in 2024 or in the last few years or for your whole life, then I really encourage you to watch this video, because in this video, I'm going to run through the 4 key pillars of weight loss, which is nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress. And we're going to dive into the things you need to be thinking about and implementing into your life in all 4 of those things. And if you can master those 4 things, you are going to have no issue with losing the weight and keeping it off in 2025. So I don't want to keep this introduction too long. Let's just dive straight into it and start off talking about the nutrition. Nutrition, your diet, what you eat, when it comes to controlling your weight, is the number 1 most important thing. You can do the other 3 things that I mentioned, and they're going to massively help you on your weight loss journey. But if the nutrition and what you're eating isn't right, you're going to really struggle. It's not going to work because you cannot outtrain a bad diet. And so let's start off by talking about one of the most important things when it comes to your nutrition. And if you've watched any of my past videos, you may well have heard me talking about this, and that is controlling your insulin levels. Because insulin is your fat storage hormone. So if you are spiking your insulin on a regular basis, you are switching your body into fat storage mode on a regular basis. Also, when you spike your insulin, it results in you having energy crashes and spikes in hunger. And that's a deadly combination when you're trying to control how much you're eating and what you're eating. If you are causing yourself to have high hunger levels and low energy levels, that's going to be impossible to fight against no matter how much willpower you have. If you're constantly spiking your insulin, you will not lose weight. So that's the first thing. So how do you control your insulin levels? And for this, you're going to want to focus on 2 things. Firstly, you are going to need to cut down the amount of ultra processed food that you're putting into your diet, because the ultra processed food, especially the ultra processed sugar and carbohydrates, are the things that send your blood sugar levels and your insulin levels skyrocketing. And as we just mentioned, that is the last thing you want if you are trying to lose weight. So cutting out that ultra processed food is really important, and replacing it with natural, whole, nutrient dense food is the key, because those natural whole foods are almost created by nature to stop you from having those insulin spikes. Take brown rice versus white rice. White rice has been processed because it has taken away the fiber. That fiber is the thing that slows down how quickly the glucose, the energy, which is what results in an insulin spike, goes into your body. So if you've got the brown rice and you've got the fiber slowing down how quickly that glucose is being processed, that is going to result in less of a spike than the processed version, where you're getting hit with lots of glucose in one go much more quickly, which results in the spike. So I hope that makes sense. And that brings me on to the next point, which is you want your diet to have plenty of healthy fats, protein, and fiber. Because as I was just explaining, those 3 things are firstly very satiating. They fill you up and satisfy you so that you don't end up overeating and over-consuming too much food. And they also slow down how quickly glucose is processed in your body. Which is why, for example, having a plate where you've got lots of protein, lots of healthy fats, and a good amount of fiber, and then some carbohydrates, that is a very different proposition to a very carbohydrate heavy plate and less protein, healthy fats, and fiber. And this is where a lot of mainstream advice you see is just wrong. If you look at the food pyramid that was created to show what a balanced diet looked like, it's completely wrong. You do not need that much carbohydrates in your diet. The overconsumption of the carbohydrates and the sugar is one of the main things that is making you struggle with your weight. And I'll just give you an example of what I eat in a day so that you can see a picture of the kind of diet that I'm talking about. So my breakfast, my first meal of the day, is I actually have pretty much no carbs. It is high fat, high protein, and some fiber. That's really important for your first meal, because when you haven't eaten for 12 hours or 14 hours or however long it is since your last meal, your body is in a fasted state, and that means it is extra sensitive to glucose. So if you start your day with a bowl of cereal, a piece of toast with some honey or jam on it, or pastries or something like that, that is going to set you up on the spike, crash roller coaster, which I was talking about earlier, where your energy levels are all over the place, you keep getting hungry, and your body is being flicked into fat storage mode. So your first meal of the day, eggs are your best bet. I eat eggs basically every morning, and I normally have them with some avocado, for example. And then with that, I might have some sausage or some smoked salmon or some nitrate-free bacon, or even a steak sometimes if I'm feeling that. But as I said, first meal of the day, you want protein and healthy fats and low carbohydrates. Then the next two meals, lunch, dinner, a similar thing. You still want to be keeping your protein, your healthy fats, your fiber high, but you can introduce some carbohydrate if you want. But again, as I was talking about earlier, make sure they are not the processed ones. They are whole food versions. So if you're having rice, have brown rice. If you're having some bread, have brown bread. Me personally, I don't really consume grains much. I just don't really feel the need to. So when I go for carbohydrates, it will usually be potatoes or sweet potatoes or root vegetables. I think people forget the fact that actually there's plenty of carbohydrates in vegetables, and you don't really need to be adding more on top of that. You will be able to get plenty of carbohydrates in your diet if you're eating lots of vegetables. So that's a little overview of what you probably want your diet to look like, and the importance of controlling your insulin levels. Now, I know the advice of cutting down the ultra-processed foods and eating lots of healthy fats, protein, fiber is something you've maybe heard before. One thing I will say though is if you can stick to it for just a couple of weeks, you will really notice a change in your hunger levels, your energy levels, and your craving for sugar. So if you can eat this diet that I'm explaining, and you can cut out the sugar just for a couple of weeks, you will start to crave sugar less and less, and it will become easier and easier to continue to eat in this way that I'm talking about. So that's diet. Whilst we're in the realm of nutrition, I want to quickly mention alcohol as well. Now, I personally do still drink. I love a drink. I love a good glass of wine, a cocktail, a nice beer. I do really enjoy it. I do see the appeal of it, and I probably drank slightly too much at Christmas. But do know that alcohol and weight loss don't really mix. Alcohol, for multiple reasons, is going to make losing weight really, really difficult. So I'm not saying don't drink at all, cut out alcohol forever. But if you are wanting to lose weight and you're someone who's drinking on a regular basis, you probably do need to think about cutting it down. And how much you're drinking, it kind of depends on the quantity of alcohol you're drinking when you do drink. If you're someone who actually wants to get drunk and drinks quite a lot, then you want to be keeping that to once a month, really. But if you're someone who is happy to just enjoy a couple of glasses of wine on an evening, maybe you're a bit stressed, you've had a long day and you just want 1 or 2 glasses of wine, then you can probably do that once a week, and that is not going to hinder your weight loss results too much. Just keep that in mind when it does come to alcohol, and know that alcohol and weight loss don't really mix. So if you are wanting to lose weight, you are going to have to probably reduce how much alcohol you drink if you are someone who drinks more than the kind of thing I was just talking about. Now that we talked a bit about nutrition, let's dive on to the second key pillar, which is exercise. And when it comes to weight loss, there is only 2 things that you should be focusing on when it comes to exercise, and that is resistance training and walking. Those are the only 2 things you need to lose the weight You can forget about the hours on a treadmill or the horrible HIIT cardio sessions. Don't get me wrong, that they have their place, they can be great for your health, but for weight loss, they are not necessary. Walking, resistance training, those two things, you are good. And we'll start off talking about the resistance training. Now, I would start off trying to do resistance training 3 times a week. I think that's pretty realistic. Even if you're busy, you can find 3 half-an-hour slots in a week. And that's the thing, half an hour, 40 minutes, it doesn't have to be hour and a half long. You can achieve a huge amount of progress from resistance training 3 40-minute sessions a week. You really can. And so with that in mind, 3 40-minute sessions, let's say, you probably want to be focusing mainly on compound movements. So that is movements that's going to be incorporating multiple muscle groups. So that's squats, push-ups, pull-ups, things like that incorporate lots of your body, because that is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck if you're doing fairly short workouts 3 times a week. And then the only other thing to really focus on and think about when it comes to resistance training, progressing. I see many people in the gym, and I've had many clients in the past who've made this mistake of trying to work out or trying to go into a gym, but not increasing the weights they're doing or how many reps they're doing or anything like that. And it's like, how are you expecting to get stronger or build muscle? And I'll come on to a second why building muscle is so great for weight loss if you're not increasing your strength and challenging your body. So that is the other thing. Make sure you are progressing on the exercises that you're doing. And so the question of like, why resistance training? Like, why is that so good for weight loss? Well, when you build muscle, it increases your metabolism, which obviously is going to make losing weight easier, but it also does another thing. Your muscles almost act as a glucose sink. And if we go back to talking about the insulin, so when you consume the glucose, insulin takes the glucose and it takes it to the different parts of your body that needs it, and any excess glucose it has to store somewhere. Now, one of the places where it can store the glucose is in your muscles. The other place it stores it is as body fat. So if you have more muscle on your body, there is more room for the glucose to be stored in your muscles rather than being stored as fat. So that's one of the reasons why if you can build some muscle, it is going to make losing weight easier. And I'm not saying you need to turn into the Hulk or be a bodybuilder. Just building a bit of muscle, bit of strength will make a massive difference to losing the weight, how you look, how you feel. So that's a little overview of the resistance training. And then the other thing I mentioned was walking. Walking is, when it comes to weight loss, one of the best forms of cardio for a couple of reasons. Firstly, unlike a lot of high intensity cardio, it is not going to really increase your hunger levels. One of the issues with the super high intensity cardio where you're running or doing HIIT workouts or stuff like that is it often increases your hunger levels and you end up just eating back any calories that you had burnt off doing it. Whereas when you walk, it generally doesn't have as bigger effect on your hunger levels. So that's a real positive. The second thing is it's quite easy to slip into your day. It's not like going to the gym and getting on a treadmill where you've got to get changed into your gym clothes, chuck on your running trainers, go for a run, get back, have a shower. A walk is very easy. You can just slip a 10, 15, 20-minute walk into your day. You can even be on a call, or if you need to ring someone, you can do that whilst you're walking. You could be listening to a helpful educational podcast. There's lots of things you could be doing whilst you're walking that means that you're continuing to be productive in your day whilst getting in that exercise, which is going to help you lose the weight. So as I said, with the exercise, the resistance training, walking, that is all you need. Now on to pillar number 3, and this is sleep. And this is so essential for your overall health and for weight loss. And it's something that people maybe don't associate sleep with weight loss. Like, how are those things connected? They're very connected, because sleep has a massive effect on your hormones, which play a big role in your body's ability to lose weight, in your energy levels, in your hunger levels, and all those things obviously have a knock-on effect as to whether or not you're able to lose the weight and keep it off. And so with sleep, you should be getting a minimum of 7 hours a night, non-negotiable. For most people, probably 8 to 9 is more ideal, but for everyone, 7 is an absolute minimum. If you're not getting that at the moment, you will definitely be negatively affecting your weight loss, your health, and your general cognitive function performance in your life. And so that's the first thing, getting enough sleep. And then a couple of tips I can give you for getting good quality sleep is firstly having a routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on a weekend, is really important if you are wanting to have good quality sleep, because your body has a circadian rhythm and it has a time clock. And if you are constantly going to sleep and waking up at different times, your body can't keep up with that. Whereas if you get into a routine, your body knows when it should and shouldn't be sleeping, and that helps with your quality of sleep and being able to get to sleep. My second tip is switching off screens an hour before you try to go to sleep. If you are watching TV or sitting on your phone or your laptop right before you go to sleep, that is not ideal, because the light you get from screens keeps your body awake and alert, and especially if you're scrolling through social media or stuff, your brain is going to be uber active, and trying to go from that state to switching off the light and going to sleep, it's going to take you a little while to go to sleep. So if you can put the screens away an hour before going to sleep, have a bit of wind down time, that is going to make getting to sleep and the quality of your sleep much better. Third tip is waking up in the morning and getting outside into natural light. And this can tie back into what we were talking about, walking. Getting up in the morning and going for a walk outside is one of the best ways you can start your day. And getting outside into natural light earlier in the day helps your circadian rhythm, which is what I was just talking about, and it will improve the quality of your sleep and your energy levels throughout the day. So that is a really good habit to get into. Walk in the morning as soon as it gets light. And then the fourth and final tip I have for you when it comes to getting enough sleep, getting good quality sleep, is caffeine. You don't want to be drinking caffeine within 8 hours before going to bed. So just make sure you're not drinking coffee in the evening or late afternoon, which is going to end up disrupting your sleep. And now finally onto the fourth pillar is stress. Stress is going to make losing weight more difficult. And that's mainly because when you are highly stressed, your body releases cortisol. And cortisol increases your hunger levels, it increases your cravings for unhealthy foods, and it causes your body to often hold on to the weight you've got. Because you're flicking your body into fight or flight, your body ends up latching on to the fat, because in a survival situation, that fat could be useful. So stress will make weight loss more challenging. Now, obviously, you cannot totally eliminate stress out of your life. That is, I think, just a part of the human experience, especially in the 21st century. However, there are definitely things you can do to reduce your stress levels, which is going to massively help with your weight loss journey. One of them is meditation. Meditation can be really powerful and really beneficial, and it's something I definitely suggest trying. I do understand that some people really struggle with it. As I said, I would encourage you to give it a go. But there are lots of other things you can do as well. And it's the fun stuff. It's making time in your day for the things you love or your loved ones. Spending time with your family, your kids, your partner. That is going to help with your stress levels. Making time for hobbies and things you love. One of the best things you can do for your stress is doing something that puts you into a flow state that has nothing to do with work or the thing that is stressing you out. So for me, I love playing tennis. I'm quite competitive. And when I'm on that tennis court and I'm playing a set of tennis with someone, my brain is purely on that tennis court and I'm thinking about that game. My brain is not thinking about work. It's not thinking about family problems or whatever it is. It's thinking about that. And that's really beneficial for managing your stress levels. So as I said, the managing your stress levels can actually be quite a nice thing, because it's essentially just about forcing yourself to take time to do the things you love and spend time with the people that you love. And that is some of my advice on managing stress. Now, I really hope that you found this video helpful. I promise you, if you can focus on those 4 things and implement the things that I talked about in this video into your life, you are not going to have an issue with losing weight in 2025. And importantly, you're going to be able to keep it off. Because again, weight loss, it's not about going on a diet, it's a lifestyle. And so doing this approach where you're not just going on a diet or you're not just going on a gym kick, you're covering lots of different parts of your life. And when you do that, it's going to make this whole process more sustainable, easier to stick to, and more enjoyable. So once again, I really hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do subscribe, because I'll be making lots more videos on weight loss, improving your energy levels, and all that great stuff. Please do like the video as well if you got any value from it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.